Okay, it's 9:01. Welcome, everybody. I want to call this meeting to order for the Village Council Budget Work Session, May 18th, 2026. First thing we'll do is consider allowing remote participation, which we do not need. Everyone's here. The next one is the adoption of the agenda. Someone want to make a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, all those for?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next piece is getting right into the budget work session. So presentation and discussion of final balance general fund operating budget for fiscal year 26-27. And that's Jill. Hey,
Good.
Jill.
Well, good, I'll take
Oh,
it.
sorry. Hey, Christine.
Good morning, Mayor Cancel. Today is our last budget work session. I think we have pretty much wrapped up everything on the budget. On Friday, we sent you the budget message and the balanced budget of $3.8 million, which is a $257,000 increase from the current budget year that we're operating in now. The increase is mostly associated with fund balance appropriations to fund various projects. I'll get to that in just a second. The tax rate remains the same at 5.63, and there's no increase in solid waste fees. The appropriation from unassigned fund balance, $118,000 is to fund electrical upfits for the Marvin Eford Park, engineering of wayfinding signage, the engineering piece of that, some additional park amenities, and then financial consulting on roads. Additionally, there are fund balance transfers for over $32,000 from solid waste reserves, as well as $140,000 from fund balance of Powellville reserves. Wanted to let you guys know too that there have been stabilization funds in place since solid waste services started. However, in future budget years, y'all will need to assess rate increases to cover those solid waste increases in the future. So just so you're aware. Aside from that, I mean, I can read you the budget message, but I'll spare you that unless you guys want me to. Are there any questions that you all have in reference to what we presented to you for consideration at the next meeting?
Just one observation. Again, and to remind the public, one of the things we've been able to do here is to propose a budget and consider one that doesn't increase our tax rate at all currently. Part of that is because we do have increased revenues from things like some of the growth, additional homes that have come online and things. But that's not something that we necessarily have a lot to plan for in the future as Marvin continues to kind of not have as many developable properties and things like that. We won't have as many new homes coming online. So just a reminder, while we're able to do this now, it's going to be a little bit tighter in the future.
I've got one comment, almost like a rebuttal to that. We have a pretty generous unassigned funds balance, and one of the things that I would have pushed for harder this year is to potentially reduce that unassigned funds balance through reducing the taxes. But I think it is prudent at this point to hold on to that unassigned funds balance because some of those funds may need to go to our reserve for the roads. So next year, I think at least personally, I'd want to take a closer look at how big that unassigned funds balance is.
That's fair.
I just have one question because I don't see the actual numbers in here. Where did we end up with the restorative and the?
200 in restorative, 250 in sorry.
You're right.
Okay, 250 preventative, 200 in restorative.
Okay. Okay.
And the restorative would be a capital reserve creation, and that would go into that to being like a holding cell, essentially.
Okay.
And if for any reason the entire 250 is not spent on preventative, it will roll and it'll be reserved so that it'll be padded into next year's number.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? So that's all that we have from staff. Unless y'all have any other questions, we can close this portion of the meeting out and go into closed session.
Do you want to explain the public hearing and the notice and any of that, since it's a new
Well, so y'all will have, at the next meeting that's going to happen in 30 minutes from now, you'll do a call for public hearing. So in that call for public hearing, you'll have the hearing on June 1st. And then you'll have the public hearing and then the adoption of the budget. Are there any questions on the process? So during the public hearing, residents can come in and speak to support or opposition of what's been presented, and then you guys will consider that and then either adopt the budget or make the amendments on the spot.
And this is pretty much the process every year, because by state law, we have to advertise the public hearing for 10 days, I think 10 days in advance. So we're advertising it twice. And that's kind of why we have this meeting here, where you guys will call for the public hearing. It gets advertised in the newspaper for 2 weeks, and then we actually officially show up to adopt.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay, at this point, we will move into closed session. E1, recess into closed session per NCGS 143.318.11 to consult with the attorney, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and to give instructions, RE Chris and Victoria Comiskey versus the Village of Marvin, Kim Vandenberg, 25C V000445890, and 325 CB 00087 FDW DCK. Someone want to make a motion to? All those for?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. We will adjourn to closed session. Thank you.
Hey, Austin, do we need a computer?
Okay, we have reconvened and we are returning back to open session. It is 9 minutes after 12 on Monday, May 18th. In the post-closed session action, there was no action taken by our council. Next step is we're going to consider the adoption of the closed session minutes. Does someone want to make a motion for that?
So moved.
All those for?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And then go right into adjournment, Austin?
No, you go into adoption of the previous minutes.
Oh, okay.
Hold
It's out of order there.
hold
Oh,
on,
yeah, okay.
didn't you say we needed to come in here first to close out?
I'm sorry?
The
Clo-
mayor already. the
That was
mayor did it.
earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to, move over to this one, adoption of the previous minutes? Okay. Section D, adoption of the previous minutes. Someone want to make a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, all those for?
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Updates to previous public comment inquiries.
You can skip that unless.
Skip it?
anybody has
Okay.
anything.
Presentations, first one's going to be presentation and consider entering a master encroachment agreement with Google Fiber of North Carolina LLC, presented by Jess George.
So I'll take a quick second to
Oh, sure.
introduce Jess. You can come on up, you're fine. Just whenever you go to talk, just press the little button. Jess and I have been working together for about a year now to get this master encroachment agreement prepared, so it's in front of you for you all to look. They have a plan to extend fiber to the greater Village of Marvin. I'll let her speak to that. We did go back and forth for several rounds on the bond amounts, which was the highest that we could potentially do, and I know they tried to bring us down on the bond amounts, but this has been vetted by our attorney multiple times, their attorneys. This is kind of the last standing of the master encroachment agreement. We wanted to just let you guys see it, see if you had any questions, and then we are ready for execution at that point.
Great, thank you so much. My name is Jess George. I lead Government and Community Affairs for G Fiber, formerly known as Google Fiber. So I do have a presentation. I know that you have a very packed agenda, so I can go pretty quickly through this. But just want to let you know that, again, to reiterate with what Christina said, you know, our goal is to build a fiber to the home, 100% fiber optic network to the residents of Marvin. We are really proud of the top quality construction methodologies that we use, our communications with residents. We really want to make sure that village council members don't get a lot of calls from residents about construction, and we know that Marvin is growing. So we want to make sure that we give people a really top-notch white glove experience with construction. Of course, construction is challenging, and we want to make sure that when things happen, we resolve them right away. If you reach out to your fellow council members at other communities around the area, they will tell you that our construction isn't perfect. We've tried to make it perfect, but it's not. But when things happen, we always make it right, and that's something we're really proud of. I think the things I'd like to highlight for you all, and these are in the presentation. Do we want to run through this, or it's? Okay, you can go to the next one. We are growing. Something we're really proud of is we are a 3 years in a row JD Power Customer Service Satisfaction #1 award winner. So really proud of the way in which we treat our customers. We are a customer-first company, which makes us successful. You can go ahead. We are committed to a community impact, so we invest all around the greater Charlotte region in STEM education, digital inclusion, to make sure that we're bringing everyone along as we build out a fiber optic network. We're also really proud of the quality products we have. We have a $70 1 gig product, no caps, no fees, no additional installation fees, et cetera, and it's been $70 since 2012. And we don't increase that price. So we're really proud of that. We also have a 3 gig and an 8 gig at $100 and $150. So at 8 gigs might sound like a lot, but I know you have a lot of folks in Marvin who work from home and start their own businesses. And when I started at G Fiber 10 years ago, everyone said, what are we gonna do with a gig? And now we all need a gig in our home. So we're really proud of these speeds, the symmetrical speed. We also have a 99.9 to the 5th decimal point of uptime. So I know we experienced some technical difficulties today. We're really proud of the consistency we have when very limited outages. And this is going to be the part you're most interested in. It's how we construct our network. And these are the guiding principles we have. We minimize disruption. We understand our market, and that means that after the agreement is approved, we will work really closely with village staff to plan a construction method that works for you all. You might tell us, hey, this neighborhood just experienced a road resurfacing project or another construction issue. Don't go to them right away because they have already experienced construction fatigue. We realize that's a real issue for growing communities, and we want to be respectful of that. But we also have comprehensive coverage. We don't pick winners and losers. We want everyone to get our product, so we make sure that we build out as ubiquitously as we possibly can. And as I mentioned, we're committed to digital inclusion, and we know that Marvin is growing, so it's a long-term partnership. We're not just coming in here and doing fiber to Marvin. It's a long-term partnership. Our staff lives in the greater Charlotte area. Many of them live really close to here out in Union County, and so this is something that we're in for the long haul. Yes?
One quick question on
Yeah.
your comprehensive coverage.
Yeah.
One question on your comprehensive coverage. I know certain neighborhoods within the village of Marvin do not have very many options because they have larger lots
Yes.
and so forth. Do you have specific formulas or something like that on how you handle situations in a place where there's less homes per, from a density
Yeah,
standpoint and how that might be addressed?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. Our construction methodologies are underground, so we don't really build in like what we might consider rural areas where you have to do an aerial network to get up on the poles to reach people who are miles away from each other. But in communities where there's large lot lines, we recognize that it's a little bit more of a cost for us to build, but we have methodologies that are really effective at reaching those houses. We've done a high-level design of Marvin, which we will be sharing after the agreement's closed, and we can start working with town council and with staff to make sure that we're reaching all those communities. But we've approached Marvin because we really believe we can build the majority of the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a really simple question.
Yeah.
I live in a community which just had fiber put in by a different supplier.
Okay.
Would it ultimately, I take it you would not be using that same fiber? You would
Correct.
Put your own in?
Yeah, exactly. That's for a variety of reasons, and folks always ask this. We do believe in kind of the dig once principle, and I'm sure your neighborhood's not really excited to have someone come in and do construction in it right after the last community, another organization came in and did the same thing. But of course, we have to be responsible for maintaining our own plant and make sure that we are responsible for our own networks. And of course, while fiber is actually extraordinary in the number of gigs it can maintain, we can't share fiber with other companies for privacy purposes and maintenance purposes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. After the master encroachment agreement is signed, and I think there's a note here that I want to highlight, which is this encroachment agreement doesn't give us carte blanche to build. We still will follow the Village of Marvin's permitting processes and encroachment agreements. It is simply an agreement that it protects both the village and G-Fiber to access the right-of-way and construct in it legally. So we just think it's the best practice in terms of having a collective agreement. Other companies don't do this, but we really believe it's the right thing to do to set the table for what this agreement would look like and make sure that we are working in full partnership with you all. But after the agreement would be approved, we would do a construction kickoff, make sure that our team, our local team is connected with your local team, and that those relationships are solid before we would ever even start construction or submit our first permit. And then we start with the network deployment process. And finally, once we're finished constructing, we're always doing installations and repairs and maintenance as necessary. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, if you have a road resurfacing project, we will have to be removing our network from anything that is in conflict with that to accommodate any village expansion projects, infrastructure upgrades, and we are, that's part of the master encroachment agreement, but it's also just part of our standard agreement. We're really proud of our construction experience process. We really want to over-communicate with neighborhoods. So one of the things we do, if anyone has any concern, we send them to our hotline. It's staffed 24/7, and we have an SLA with our folks who answer those phone calls. They have to answer within, I think it's something like 3 seconds. So it's always staffed by a human being. You always talk to a live person, and we follow every one of these tickets to completion. So it doesn't matter how big or how small that construction incident is, we follow them to completion. So let's just say there was construction in your neighborhood in February, and you have sod. And of course, we're going to someone's going to say, oh, we want a seed and straw, and you say, no, we want sod. Well, we know sod's not going to do anything in February, so we will stay with you until we can resod your yard a month later, and then follow up with you on how happy you are with that restoration process. Our commitment is leave your neighborhood as good, if not better, than we found it. These are the door hangers we use. We typically put them out 3 days before construction starts, but if the Village of Marvin has a different expectation, we will change that. So our goal is to make sure that everybody knows we are building in advance. We also add additional collateral, so not everybody uses their front door, so we have stickers for mailboxes, stickers for garage doors, et cetera, just to make sure everyone sees what we're doing. And we also want to make sure that we have these kind of pre-populated Instagram, Nextdoor, Facebook feeds we can send out to HOA leadership in advance. So if HOAs want us to come in and do a private presentation for their staff, we have a full show and tell of what does the fiber optic cable look like, what's the science of fiber, what are our products, what can you expect from us, who should you call if you have concerns. So we really want to make sure that folks are not surprised by construction in their neighborhood, and if they have any concerns whatsoever, they know who to call. This is our local team. We all live here. So these are the folks that will be meeting with Village of Marvin staff, and we will be the ones working really closely with you to make sure that the execution of this fiber optic infrastructure goes smoothly. So these are our promises to you. We do everything we can to minimize disruption. We take restoration incredibly seriously. We resolve problems day or night, no matter how big, how small. We want to make sure that we are responsive to your residents, and we're local. So our team is here in the Charlotte area, and always happy to, our partnership with you is so important to us because this is personal to us. We're in people's front yards, and that matters to them. And we want to make sure that what we're doing is respectful, is communicative, and also increases the quality of life for folks because we're providing an infrastructure improvement we think is valuable. So thanks for your time. I'm happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a rollout schedule somewhere?
We will start the rollout schedule. We'll start that after the agreement is signed. The reason I don't have one is we will really rely on village staff to help guide us to make sure we don't want to be submitting permits that are too big or not big enough, going too fast. We rarely go too slow, but we want to make sure that we have a cadence that matches the staff capacity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So you do have an agreement that needs approval. So if someone wants to make a motion to approve the master encroachment agreement?
All those for?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next piece here.
Okay.
Reports and updates. Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything at this point. Most of my stuff is agenda items.
Okay. We have the planner's report.
All right, got a few items I would like to update you guys on. First one, and Christine, I may need a little guidance on this one with the Tullamore easement. I know that was a discussion that came up, and in short, back in 2023, we got a signed easement by the HOA to relocate a portion of their original platted easement. It was basically to construct the Phase 4, which would complete the loop per se and connect it with the Amber Meadows Trail. We then looked at additional routing opportunities where we got an easement from the towns at Audrey to go through their common open space there at the back of their lot, which abuts Tullamore and Amber Meadows. However, the easement for Tullamore was never recorded because we were waiting to see the final routing. We got those survey exhibits done early last year, and I guess that's the question is if we want to proceed with getting it re-signed and re-executed and recorded, or I know at this time, like it's not, we're not moving forward with constructing that portion of the trail. So does that cover that, Christina? Yeah.
Are we really talking about two different easements? I mean, the Ardrey, towns at Ardrey, is that a separate easement from?
It is, yes, and that one was signed and recorded.
Okay. Yeah, because there was concern expressed this weekend by a resident about the construction of the trails that was passed in that long copy of the council.
Said at this time, are not moving forward with construction. There was a feasibility study done for that connection, and with a historic gravesite located along on one of those properties, and to do further due diligence to verify the actual location of that was something that was brought, like I said, last year. Council decided just to put the project on hold at this time, the previous council. Correct. It's all connected, because it would be connecting Tullamore to Amber Meadows through the Towns at Audrey property.
So you're asking if we want to move forward with it?
I guess I'm just updating you on the current status. Like I said, we have an easement from Tullamore that's on the plat. In 2023, we relocated it based off the routing. And that 2023 easement was never recorded. It's been signed and executed, but was never recorded because we were waiting on the exhibit. And so staff can work with the Tullamore HOA to get a new easement agreement basically re-executed and recorded, or we can just kind of have it on hold for now. It's just the easement. We're not moving forward with any construction.
Yeah, and that was the easement that was being affected by the archaeological
Correct.
study and so forth. Yeah, I see no reason not to move forward with the recording of the easement that's already been provided, but like he said, it's not putting any public monies toward it or anything at this point.
Hunter, just as a point of clarification, you got the Tullamore Trail.
Mhm.
We have the Amber Meadows Trail. And the Amber Meadows Trail currently is a trail to nowhere.
Correct.
So we got an asset there, a potential asset that's not being used at all. And I guess the question is, I know we have a proposed loop connecting Tullamore to Amber Meadows, correct? That proposal's gonna stay in place, correct? We're just not moving on it.
Correct, yes. We have, and that's where the Towns at Audrey came in, because when this all kind of started in late 2022, early 2023, we were trying to work with the Amber Meadows HOA at that time to basically get an easement to bring it up their property line to Tullamore, and I don't have a map in front of me, but essentially, you have Amber Meadows, Towns at Audrey, Tullamore. Amber Meadows Trail stops at their property line towards Towns of Audrey, so did Tullamore's, going towards Towns of Audrey. Pulte developed all three, and so there was just, since the Towns of Audrey is in Union County, that was just something that was not granted by the developer at that time. Staff worked with the HOA for the Towns of Audrey, got an easement to then, because Amber Meadows HOA did not want to grant an easement up, which is understandable, it wouldn't have made a great route. So we worked with the Towns of Audrey to basically get a point-to-point type easement from Amber Meadows to Tullamore to complete that loop. And like I said, that easement's already been recorded and we have that on file as well. It's the Tullamore portion that we relocated. So I will reach out to their HOA and try to just get this cleaned up so we can get it recorded, just so we have it, I have documentation for it. Like I said, we're not moving forward with any type of construction at this time. Does that sound good? Okay. Next, just an update on the two rezonings. The conditional zoning for the Lett property will be on planning board tomorrow. I do not foresee planning board making a recommendation as we are working through the final kind of recommended conditions and getting their draft development agreement reviewed. That will most likely be brought to you guys at your July meeting for public hearing and consideration. The other one for that Marvin School Road property rezoning, it's on planning board tomorrow for the first time. Most likely that will also be in July, maybe August, that it will be brought to you guys for consideration. Just wanted to give an update there. Comp plan update, our Kenway Horn was at the HOA president's meeting last week to solicit kind of additional feedback from the HOA associations. They are taking all that in, working on the final draft. We will have a open house meeting, I think in July-ish. We'll confirm the date once we get it scheduled. And then that will also be brought to then planning board and then council for adoption in between August and September. And then finally, well, two more items, just economic development strategic plan update. We had our first kickoff meeting with the volunteer working group last week, went great. That next meeting is June 11th, and that's another one, I think it's about a 5 to 6 month process So that final plan will be brought to you guys later this year. And then just a final update on the Marvin Grove parking that we discussed at the last meeting. I was directed to talk with the developer to see if he's open to still partnering with the village. I spoke with Peter Zepsa. He is. He's also open to however the village wants to do it, if it's us retaining the property, maybe having some cost share, or, looking to purchase or donate it to the developer. Just want to update you guys there. I think next steps for that is potentially we just have a sit down, kind of see where all council would like to retain and not, and then see what his asks are for that. Other than that, is there any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. We got the Public Works report.
Just wanted to mention to you all, first and foremost, the Public Works Director position closes next week, I think it is, so we've got some applicants there that will be worth entertaining. And then secondly, we did get an email from NCDOT. I forwarded it to you guys, but just for those that are listening at home, they did a study at the intersection of Grove's Edge and Marvin School Road, and they are recommending to insert a pedestrian crosswalk with the flashing beacons in that general area. So they've asked for our support. They've clarified not financial support at this point, and I've reiterated to them that we would be supportive of this project as long as there's no financial contributions, which you guys can decide that at a later date if they come back and ask for more. So I just wanted to let everyone know.
Just a question on that. What stimulated that? How did that come about?
I think that we had asked them a long time ago because, is it Ladera or Gates of Ainsley across the street had requested some support, and I think at that point we had either requested something from DOT or told them to do so. So I think that's what stemmed from it.
And there are grant programs that we've been looking at. I'm just thinking over it, and on a Coffee with Council, there was a discussion about some kind of safety measures going across Joe Carr Road as you, like, over by like Wheatfield or something like that.
Like a crosswalk.
Yeah, like a crosswalk or something like that. Is that, are we pursuing grants for that kind of stuff? I seem to recall some kind of a discussion about that.
So there is a Safe Streets for All program that we're pursuing right now that's a planning document. It's not an actual construction component. So in that Safe Streets for All, it would identify certain portions like this, and then hopefully that would open the door to have what you refer to as a shovel-ready project, and then they will be able to seek grants from there.
Yeah, I was in the RFQ for the engineering for that plan is out currently. It closes at the end of the month. That plan.
Crossing Joe Carr?
No, for the Safe Streets for All, doing a comprehensive safety action plan. But that plan will then open the door for additional opportunities for funding, either through CRTPO or any other state administered grant for the most part. That plan will probably take anywhere from 12 to 18 months to complete. So once we get a vendor selected, they'll probably start in July or August doing the initial steps of the planning process for that.
Okay, so, sorry, but can you kind of explain the process? I mean, like, what happens when and where are we in that? I mean, is it that we do the engineering and then we make the request for a grant, or is it the other way around? Or how's
So yeah, so the plan itself will identify opportunities to create a safer network in regards of car travel. If it's looking at opportunities to reduce speed limits or visibility in certain areas, it will also create. It will identify certain pedestrian crossings and stuff that could be of safety concern or allow for opportunity there to address. And so it will identify those, and that will then kind of outline a project list for the most part. And then
And we do that, or somebody else do that?
we'll have a consultant assisting, and we'll probably have some type of working group or kind of steering committee to assist with that. Like, I'm on the one for the CRTPO, the regional plan right now. And I mean, there's obviously, being a regional plan is a lot more comprehensive. But ours will be just tailored to the village, and we'll also have that resource through CRTPO as well as being part of their plan. So it's kind of a double opportunity to identify projects. And that regional plan will also probably help in looking at something similar to this one where that neighborhood is not within the Village of Marvin limits, so, and it's partnering with DOT to get completed. And so that's where I think that regional plan will also be a big asset to help with if any of those other areas of Marvin that is in Marvin and not in Marvin will be identified in that regional plan as well.
Thanks.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Next part is, we have the coffee with council debrief.
We met, Tom and I did, excuse me, coffee with council. We met with two residents of Marvin, Mr. Whitehead from Innisbrook and a Ms. Dunton from Amber Meadows. And Ms. Dunton is very, what's the right word, distressed regarding the Amber Meadows Trail and the potential access of a bridge between the Amber Meadows Trail and the parking lot where Andy's is. And she brought an audio for Tom and I to listen to of the noise at Andy's in the evening that they in Amber Meadows hear. And it was amazing. The teenagers go behind Andy's, they park their cars, they turn up their speakers, and it's incredible. So I understand why she's concerned about providing a bridge with access for teenagers to come across and get on the Amber Meadow Trail. And Tom and I basically told her that she could sleep easy that night, that bridge was pretty far off and not to be considered. So, but she had valid concerns. I had no idea that Andy's brought that kind of crowd and that much noise to the area. The other gentleman, Tommy Whitehead, he resides in Innisbrook, and he and his wife walk. And currently, when they leave their neighborhood, they try to walk to Saddlebrook and pick up Saddlebrook and then go down to Marvin Creek and walk Marvin Creek. And currently, they have to, if it rains, it's a muddy walk, so on and so forth. And it's a safety issue, frankly. So he's asking that there be a continuation of the sidewalk down to Saddlebrook from Innisbrook. He was a very nice gentleman, and I think the meeting, generally speaking, went very well. The other thing we asked while we were there was about communication and how we might enhance communication. They really didn't have any recommendations. However, they were both very happy with the mayor's newsletter, and they thought that was a really good, positive step forward on communication. So I wanted council to know that. Tom, do you have anything to add?
No, I just underscore the point about the communication and the mayor's update. I think that was very well received by both of them. The one thing that I do think that we need to be clearer about is, and this was brought up by one of the residents who was under the impression that there was a pool of grants that was not being used to fund the trails. And I said, that's definitely not the case. So I think if we have an opportunity to clear that up, whether through the next message that we send out or otherwise, we should be clear on what kind of funding we have for any of the trails.
Okay, thank you. Is that it on the coffee with council debrief? Okay. Section H, consent agenda.
You just need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All those for?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion passes for the consent agenda. Unfinished business. Consider the approval of purchase and the installation of bronze plaque for Mike Cognac Memorial from All Star Signs, not to exceed $2,200.
I'll be really brief. This was the PRG's proposal for a memorial for former Mayor Mike Cognac, who was instrumental in the initial development of the Marvin Loop. They've recommended a bronze plaque installed on a stone. We were looking to incorporate that as part of one of the stones with the water feature. For the purchase and installation of the stone is $2,200 roughly, slightly under, but I like to give some buffer in there. The vendor would still need to see the stone to verify that they can do the installation properly. But this is just getting your guys' initial thumbs up. If you guys say yes, we're gonna move forward with this, and try to do it in tandem with the water feature.
I just had a quick question, primarily to Angel. I think she's much more familiar than I am with it. I know the Historical Society is talking about putting signage out at the park. And I guess my question is, the incorporation of all these signs, and they're all worthy, and that's not that big of a park. I guess the question is, what do you think what do you think aesthetically it's going to look like when we get all the plaques and so on and so forth in there?
This is specifically a memorial proposed just to be on a single stone. So it's not a stand-up sign blocking the site.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be mounted to a stone.
Yeah, they're looking at a couple different options.
Right.
And putting it potentially in, either have a bigger sign in one place, or the 24 by 36s that we were talking about, either in a horseshoe in one place, or maybe 3 in a horseshoe, and then 2 further down the walking path. But they're not intrusive. I mean, they're trying to keep it so it looks nice.
Professional?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do. Can I get clarification on what, do I need a budget amendment for this, or do we know where this is coming out of?
That's a good question. I would imagine we would pull what we have left in branding for the year, but I'm not 100%. So we might need a budget amendment.
I don't know what's left. I mean, if you don't have what's left, and
Was that the plan, to use branding money, or to use?
I don't think there was a plan, because this kind of came up. So I mean, if there's money left in branding, then you can pull it from there. If not, you will have to do a fund balance budget amendment.
Will you follow up with me as an action item, please? Thank you.
I got you.
I've got a quick question about this particular project. Is this something that's going to multiply by honoring other mayors that have served in Marvin? And so we're looking at not a $2,200 expense, but ultimately in time, multiply that $2,200 by the number of mayors we've had. Is there a particular reason why Mike's being honored specifically?
Mike and John, I'll let you speak on this if you want, because I know you knew Mike
Yeah.
personally.
I'll speak on this. Mike was actually the mayor originally when the Marvin Loop concept was even kind of developed. So it was kind of something that he kind of brought to the table at first. Mike is also a mayor that, in addition to having served as mayor and councilman for a couple of years, he was also someone that was well-known in the community through the high school baseball programs, things of that nature, and did pass away more recently, kind of at a younger age. So it was designed more as a memorial to kind of enshrine his initial advocacy for the Marvin Loop. The original thought was to actually kind of have it as a plaque on a bench or something on the Marvin Loop. The discussion then kind of changed, well, do we put it at Village Hall Park or something like that? So it has changed a little bit, but those are the main reasons why, more so the fact that he was well-known within the community, and not just that he was a mayor, but the totality of his service in that and other ways.
So what I am looking for here is, if you guys are good with this, I am asking for a motion to approve the purchase and installation, not to exceed $2,200.
So moved.
All those for?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
And Jill, I'll follow up with you. So you're good on that?
Okay, the next piece is consider approval of layout of trail signs prohibiting motor and motorized vehicles.
So just bringing this back to you all, there is, okay, I actually didn't put the sign in the packet, so I'm going to pull it up on the screens to show you. I thought I did. So if you guys remember, we were talking about installing signs on trails to note that we don't allow motor vehicles of any kind, including sorry, I'm trying to pull the sign at the same time,
Was it e-bikes?
including e-bikes, but also any sort of a motor vehicle. I'm sorry, the sign file is escaping me. I'll have it up in just 1 second. Essentially, what the PRG board recommended was, they recommended having a sign that says, hold on. I can't talk and open find files at the same time. They went with 2 options here. Well, I have 2 options here. All right, I'm dragging it up on screen now. All right, this would be the first one. So you have an option to have the name of the individual trail, so what's allowed, walking, running, bicycles, and then no motorized vehicles per ordinance, including your mopeds, your motorbikes, go-karts, golf carts. That's the exact language from our ordinance verbatim, so it stays true to the ordinance. And then you have 2 QR codes below, one to more information about village trails, and the other one to the exact ordinance language. There is a second option that doesn't include the trail name and just says notice. The price is the same either way. They're about $50 a sign, and you would just post them along village trails at trailheads. And then you would need to decide if you wanted to put these on the Marvin Loop itself, because the Marvin Loop does include sidewalks.
Yeah, just one thing, and that kind of, the non-distinguishment between trails and our sidewalks does cause me some concern. Only I can see some of these items being limited to the trails, you know, especially natural ones. But a couple of them, like, I know there's differences in electric scooters today, but, you know, I've seen those, the type of things that kids play out on the sidewalk in front of their homes with that, you know, in some cases can also be considered now part of our green and trailway system. So that's the only concern that I have about some of these items being listed. Certainly all the e-bikes that we're learning more about now, that, you know, really need to be registered as motor vehicles. Those are things.
You could just do these on the internal trails too. Or a few internal trails. You could just post them there. You don't
Yeah.
want to step into the.
I think we would want to limit these more to kind of our internal trails and not necessarily sidewalks.
What do you guys think?
I agree. I do have a recommendation. I like the second better than the first, but I think it ought to say trail notice, not just notice. And I just think it's,
Do you guys like, so Bob says he likes the one that doesn't have the Greenway name on it, that just says trail, he wants to say trail notice. What do you guys think?
I kind of like how this articulates exactly what types of vehicles.
But regarding the name, do you guys, so he's saying
Talking
he
about
doesn't like, he would rather have it say, you know, trail notice instead of the name of the actual
generic
trail.
can be used on all trails.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah.
the
I think
price
a
is,
universal solution.
the price is the same regardless. I can order them with trail names on them. It doesn't change the price, just whatever you guys prefer.
I just do trail notice.
Trail
Yeah,
names,
I think we keep it more generic.
generic, okay?
And the other question I have, and the QR codes are nice, but do they really serve a purpose?
I mean, if someone has a question, if someone reads this and they're confused at any reason, they can go to the actual ordinance themselves if they want to. That was a strict recommendation from PRG to provide that resource.
And what falls under more info on trails and greenways?
That takes you just to the Trails and Greenways page on our website.
There is one caution using these QR codes. Someone can put a sticker over this and an unsuspecting person scans it and it could add malware, and that's happening now, unfortunately. I wonder if we shouldn't just put a website that takes people directly to the source they need to go to. People are creating QR codes that do bad things, and they're placing them perfectly over stuff like this and trusting people are scanning it, and bad things are happening. So
Yeah, I
You
think
guys
Joe's
seen
got a
that?
great idea, because I would like to drive more people to the Marvin website.
Well, that's what more info on Trails and Greenways does,
But,
is the
but
website.
to his point, why wouldn't we just spell it out at the bottom for more information?
Your only issue there is someone is going to have to get on their device and type in a full web link rather than just, so it's however you guys want it to read. You just
Well,
have
and
options.
one thing I can suggest is our guys go out and inspect the trails weekly. We can add this to their maintenance list if they want to just fill over to see if a sticker's been put on, but just throwing that out there.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna down this one.
Okay, if there's
I think the
a
layout's
monitoring
great.
of that and they're really paying attention to it, I mean, I'll leave it up for other people to comment on
I
that.
like the layout.
You'll just have to make sure we get that message. I mean, if that's what you guys decide to do, we'll have to make sure to get that message over to Public Works and let them add that as a part of their scope.
And I can have that conversation with Matt once we're ready to order signs and get ready to start putting them out. Any other thoughts on the signs? Are you guys good with them?
How big are they?
18 by 24.
Okay,
So,
they're big.
yeah,
Okay.
Good job.
yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to proceed with ordering those, and we'll just pull that from our sign budget.
Next piece is I3, review PR&G board event recommendations and discussion of future events.
See, I stopped screen sharing, and it's still me. Hold on. So the PR&G board at their last meeting finished discussing their event recommendations, and I think I put those in your packet. I did. I still have that sign picture up there. So they, over 2 meetings, they went through each event, and this is what they landed on. They recommend pretty much no changes to National Night Out. It's largely formulaic. It has a great opportunity for volunteers. They would consider adding a nature walk, something to really promote the park, and a public engagement opportunity, especially for the PRG board. Same thing with trick or treat in the park and Arbor Day. No real changes needed there. The tree lighting, they would like to see a holiday vendor market. It's a good way of sticking our toes in the water for some sort of farmer's market, vendor market. They're recommending bringing back the 5K with a health fair / vendor market, so again there. Also, maybe doing 2 a year, spring and fall. We will need to find a new vendor. For farmers markets and vendor markets themselves, as solo events, they want to more stay away from those for now and just focus on adding them as components to other events, at least until we could start building relationship with vendors. Car shows, they're not really our events anyway. They're largely independent, so no recommendations there, but they are recommending to discontinue the Easter egg hunt. It's a very intensive event, and to rebrand Marvin Day as one single, smaller scale spring event that could include a vendor market. We threw a couple fun names in there: Marvin Spring Fling, Marvin Spring Fair, Marvin Monarch Market, to focus on a vendor market and some of the kids stuff that we had at Marvin Day. But also we could incorporate a trail run with this. So that was their recommendations. As we go forward with planning events for the next year, if you guys have feedback, have recommendations, we would like to hear them. So
I'd like to better understand why we're doing away with the Easter egg hunt. My understanding, there's a lot of participation. Is that incorrect?
we were told there were turnout issues at that event specifically.
No, there's not been turnout issues. I think the last 2 years, we've had rain issues, weather issues, which has likely caused a decrease in attendance. But in general, the attendance has been good. I think from a staffing standpoint, it is labor intensive because we have had to, when we did it the first year, we kind of did all ages come as you go, and it turned into a little bit of a logistical liability nightmare because you had 5-year-olds competing with, or let's say 3-year-olds competing with 10-year-olds, running and tackling folks over. So then we decided to do it in age groups. So I'm just going to throw some numbers up here. So from like 10 to 10:30, you had eggs for 3-year-olds, and then you had to go and restage it for the next group by the time that group finished. So you'd come in the next time at, let's say, 10 to 10:30 for 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds. age groups like that. So it was just a little bit labor intensive to do all that, and I think that's what he's referring to as.
There's staffing issues here too. The last time this event was done, Tyler was here, we're down staff, multiple staff members.
Yeah, Tyler spent a lot of time on that, and for whatever reason, you know, April showers bring May flowers, and March into that as well. It seemed like we were always having threat of weather on those weekends that we kind of tried to pick it in around there. It was just a general time like that.
The first year was actually canceled, and some residents were a little upset about it because we did our best to put on social media that the event was canceled, but due to rain and storms, but some people still showed up at the park expecting to have it, and so we got a little bit of feedback that was frustrating. We were able to pull it off in year 2, but year 1 did get canceled after all that planning. Year 2 was a good turnout, but again, it was very labor intensive. It was a lot of work, and the weather's always going to be a problem.
It was also scheduled right pretty much within a couple of weeks of Marvin Day, so their recommendation was kind of pull resources, one spring event, smaller scale, that staff could better manage, and focus on incorporating that vendor market, incorporating some of the other things we've seen successful other events, like we had the animal exhibits, and having a plant sale exchange, essentially just trying to make better use of our resources for one strong, manageable spring event. Any questions? As we continue down the next few months with the PRG board, they'll have more discussions over these events as they come up, and we'll keep you guys informed from there and get recommendations as we need to.
All right, Section J, new business. Consider the appointment of a new delegate and alternate to the CRTPO.
I can take this one. Councilman Ilaraza chose to step down from his role with CRTPO, so we do need someone to fill it. Bob is currently the alternate here, Bob Dunnenkamp. So you guys could ask Bob to step up to be the delegate or appoint someone new.
No, they can't.
Okay, so Bob is out. No, I'm joking. So it's up to you guys who wants to step in to fill that role.
What's the frequency with?
I was going to ask Hunter, I'm pretty sure it's monthly. They do end up canceling a few each year. I actually don't have their schedule with me, but I can look it up really fast. It's monthly, yeah. It's usually look right now, looks like the 3rd Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. And that's at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Government Center down in Uptown. I know everyone's eager. If you guys want to have more time to discuss it amongst yourselves, you can.
Yeah, I
But
think we
once
need more time.
If someone is ready to step into that role, we'll need to have a formal appointment at a meeting so that person can start attending.
Do you know when the next meeting is?
The next meeting, have we missed the May one already? The next meeting is in 2 days, Wednesday, May 20th, at 6 p.m., and then the one after that would be June 17th, also Wednesday.
Okay, we're going to, I guess, table that, or Tom?
Well, I was going to say, maybe just in the near term, if we need somebody to cover on Wednesday, maybe we.
I mean, Bob is the alternate, so he can step in until there's a new delegate. It's whatever you guys would like to do. If you'd like another meeting to think on it, we can just do this appointment in June, and then either Bob can attend this month, or someone else can. Someone else won't be able to attend because they won't have voting power because they're not appointed. So
I'll volunteer to go this Wednesday, and then we'll discuss amongst each other.
You would need to be appointed just because you would have voting power. The person needs to have voting power there. So it is an appointment. Do you want to do that and have Fred take over PRG?
PRG is a lot. That's why I'm hesitant. I mean, PRG is often 2 to 3 hour meetings, you know, at least once a month. So I don't know if he's ready to sign up for that, but.
Bob, are you able to attend Wednesday? Okay. So probably we won't have a representative there this month, but you guys can come and do this appointment at the June regular meeting.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
we'll revisit it then. So you're good to move
Okay. That doesn't require any motion, does it, Austin? Okay.
on. You're good.
Section J2, the discussion of the Tom Short Road roundabout. Christina, you want to address that one?
Yeah, sorry, that's me. So I can't remember, somebody asked me to add this to the agenda for discussion.
Marvin Creek was asking about us, or what to do, because DOT is taking care of, I guess, our roundabouts out here, or we're doing it. And
Yeah,
they're a DOT, their roundabouts are DOT maintained, and so they're trying to figure out how they can either get us to maintain it or DOT to maintain it. They need some help.
So there's two roundabouts on Tom Short. One's Tullamore, and then one's right inside of Marvin Creek. If they are maintained by DOT, I can tell you the standard's very low. They come out and they maintain right-of-ways. I'm not going to throw a number at the wall, but it's less than a dozen. So they will come out very infrequently and maintain their right-of-way. We actually have a contract with DOT currently where we do some maintenance because it's at a higher level. We expect, our grass out here to be maintained at a higher level. So we get paid from DOT. It's very chump change. It's very minor. Let's say it's less than $200 a year for us to maintain certain portions of right-of-way that they generally maintain. So we had a maintenance agreement with Tullamore and Amber Meadows for the basically the right-of-way along Tom Short. It had a lot of language in there. We went back and forth for probably 6 months, multiple meetings, to get rid of portions of the maintenance agreement that they didn't like, and then to add in stuff that we wanted to see as well. So those are inside of your agenda packets, and you can go back and kind of look at some of those minutes that took place at the time. But essentially, we said we would maintain the sidewalks, and then the intent during that time was for them to maintain the trees that are outside of the right-of-way and their roundabout. Now, obviously, Marvin Creek was not part of this because it didn't involve them, so that's why we don't maintain their right-of-way, or their roundabout, I should say. Now, Marvin Creek, we've never done that in our entire existence. That's always been something that was done by the HOA. From my understanding, they wanted to see, a nice, beautiful landscaped roundabout with a fountain in it, and that was their right to do so. At the point of the road being constructed, there should have been an encroachment agreement that was issued with DOT in Marvin Creek, and that should define who maintains that. I assume that there is one, but I have not seen it personally. But Marvin Creek, to my understanding, has maintained that roundabout from the existence of time. We've never touched that roundabout that has the fountain in it. So I'm not really sure why this has all come about, because they've been maintaining it for however long Marvin Creek's been there. If that's what Cancel wants to do and start maintaining that roundabout, then that's totally y'all's call, but we would have to assess it from a standpoint of resource allocation on how we're going to, absorb that into our budget and have our guys commit to that level of project. I will say there would be some liability concerns I would make sure that you guys get addressed with the fountain. There could be some exposure for just having that fountain there. There could be some increased premiums from just the liability exposure itself of the water being there.
And you're talking about the roundabout as you're going into Marvin Creek, right in front of the amenity center?
It's right where the gates are.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure where the amenity center is in position to that, but it's right across the street, okay. So it's totally y'all's decision, but just know that there are some concerns, liability, resource allocation, that kind of stuff, time commitments.
Yeah, I think we need to be careful too, to some degree, because there's other monuments at, entrances to other neighborhoods that are surrounded by public streets. Maybe it's not a roundabout, but when you pull into, let's say, Firethorn, right? They have
Right.
a feature and stuff there as well. So I feel we need to be careful about getting into taking over, roundabout maintenance or monument maintenance at individual subdivisions. When you talk about the ones out here on Newtown Road, those are really in public right-of-ways, so I think that's different. And we made the decision, as a council to beautify those rather than them just be, flat cement things like they are in some of the other areas of Union County. So, yeah, I think we made the right decision there, but I think we need to be careful about expanding into, what really should be neighborhood responsibilities.
So I don't, unless y'all are directing staff to do something differently, I don't have any thoughts or recommendations here, other than if you're going to pursue it, let me come back and bring some of the concerns back. But they're going to be, liability concerns with the fountain there. I'd have to get with the insurance provider to check on that, to also see what the increased premiums would be. Also check to see if the guys can absorb it, how much it's gonna cost for them to, go out there weekly. I will, there might be a difference of expectation in service delivery from Marvin Creek residents versus what we offer. So there's a lot to kind of wrap into this, and we'd like to probably get something in writing. I would even venture to say we would need to make sure that there is an encroachment agreement that's existing, and if not, we would probably need to get one from DOT.
So.
A lot of moving parts, sorry.
Two things. So the feedback that I've gotten is that some of the Marvin Creek residents don't understand why we maintain these roundabouts that are NCDOT, but they're paying taxes and we're not maintaining their NCDOT. So I'm just putting that out there. That's one school of thought. Second thing is if we can maybe get a contact for them, for DOT, to maybe help that along. I don't know if they're asking us to take it over. I don't know if they're just, I've been asked for a contact for NCDOT. If we can maybe get one for them so that they can at least have conversations with them and see if there's anything that they can do to help them.
So the HOA, if you're talking about HOA residents, I mean, they can Google North Carolina DOT and look up the contact information, or I can give them the link, the same link. But the
I
HOA,
sent them that link. They were asking for a person, which I guess we don't
and
have on.
I don't know. I don't keep track of DOT, like who does what, so they would just need to call and ask. I mean, everybody has a separation of duties at DOT, so I don't know which person handles this type of thing. But I have been in communication with the HOA president, and DOT is on the same email. So if it's
Okay.
residents versus the HOA itself, there might be a,
Apparently, they formed a committee. I don't know if the HOA board is involved with it or not. I have no idea. But
Okay.
apparently, they formed a committee about this issue. So I hope they're talking. I'll certainly reach out to the lady that reached out to me
yeah, I would,
and just suggest that, yeah.
yeah. I would hope that we would do things that the HOA is asking for, not just a group of residents, so.
Yeah, I don't know if it was something that they appointed as a board, or I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, I would, so the HOA president has been in communication with me, and she has not revealed to me that there's any type of committee. She's been handling the questions. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's just a group of residents, but
Okay.
maybe some direction to the HOA itself
Okay.
to let them know. I don't know.
If you want to forward me her contact information, I'll reach out to her.
The president?
The president,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can do that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, open topics.
You got one more, you skipped one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yes. This is for the discussion and the consideration of the homeowners association president's group meeting and use of village resources.
And let me start by saying, I guess the HOA president's meeting evolved several years back, and it was created as a form of communication. And attendance was, I think, initially pretty good, but as time went on, it became more of or perceived to be more of a Marvin initiative. And once it became perceived that way, the HOA president's attendance diminished. Mike Gilboy, I give Mike an awful lot of credit. He and I were trying to figure out how to reestablish communication and get initiatives downloaded down into our neighborhoods. And Mike took it over, and so he and I kind of worked together on that. Our attendance probably would average maybe 4 or 5 neighborhoods, and now we're up to almost all neighborhoods. We were missing Weddington Chase this past one. Fred had a family emergency. He couldn't be here. And Amber Meadows didn't have a representation. But outside of that, we had outstanding representation. But it's really important for everybody to understand one thing. This is an initiative outside of council, outside of Marvin. This is a private initiative. And it's only for HOA presidents. It's not for anybody that wants to show up. And unfortunately, we had people come that weren't HOA presidents. And as a result, I got emails from HOA presidents saying they're no longer going to attend if it's not an HOA president's meeting. And I told those people that I would address that at council. So I just want everybody to understand this is an initiative that Austin helps me with the HOA list. I send it out, develop the agenda. I do all the invites. It has absolutely nothing to do with council or staff. So, but I think it's a phenomenal platform for us to communicate. And I hope we continue to engage in it. And, you know, when the lady was talking about Google Fiber, there's going to be a lot of questions in Marvin about Google Fiber. Well, that's a really good platform to talk to the HOA presidents about what's coming up, and they can either disseminate or not. The real challenge that we face, council faces, is that we had a lieutenant, I'll use Lieutenant May as our example. He did a great job, by the way, presenting on e-bikes and Neighborhood Watch and so on and so forth. But what happens is it goes through the HOA presidents, and unfortunately, most of the HOA presidents do not disseminate the information. So we've got to solve against that. But in this particular instance, Lieutenant May is going to send me a link that we can send to the HOA presidents, and they hopefully will just, you know, do an e-blast and send it out. But anyway, I just want to say that we had a great turnout, and but it is a private event. We're going to have sign-up sheets next time where people come, they're going to have to sign in. And so anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, open topics.
I have some.
Oh, sure.
So why did we stop allowing people on Zoom calls not to be able to vote? Do y'all know why we stopped letting people on Zoom calls not be able to vote?
It was a recommendation from our attorney based on some case law and changes that have taken place in the legislature recently, and I think, Councilmember Eck, you may know more particularly about that, but it was through advisement of our attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure they were ever allowed to vote remotely unless it's like an emergency session, is my understanding.
Okay.
There was voting that was allowed in COVID, and there were changes that were done in COVID, and I think they were carried over and just never changed back. So to his point,
Gotcha.
It was a legal gray area for a long time. It was
Okay.
where law had not caught up, had not caught up with post-COVID events, and now a case law and law has.
Okay.
And,
Got it.
and I think once the COVID emergency was kind of done, then a lot of those things should have expired that really
That didn't.
didn't, once
Okay.
there was no longer
gotcha.
an emergency.
Second thing is that we need to start interviewing interim town managers ASAP. And do we want to, I've talked to everybody about like their ability to get together, you know, in groups of 3 this week or next. And so are we okay do we want to call them? Do we want to let Christina call them and set up a time? And then just communicate with us about who wants to volunteer to be on that call?
it would be easier if you guys pick a day or a couple of days and times, and then I can see who's available, or see if I can squeeze them into that
Okay.
window.
So should we do that now? So Wednesday, Thursday, I'm having puppies this weekend, so I'm going to be tied up Friday on. But I'm available Wednesday and Thursday, and I can Zoom next week after they're here. But so I'm good Wednesday or Thursday. Are other people available Wednesday or Thursday this week?
I'm available Wednesday, Thursday of this week. I'll be available all next week, other than Thursday and Friday.
I'm
Thursday this
Okay.
week, but then
All right.
this-
So Christina, you want to maybe try Thursday this week to start?
Thursday, like 2 to 4?
Yeah,
Does that sound okay?
yeah.
Okay.
Are y'all good with that?
Yep.
Thank you.
And,
And-
what-
and-
oh,
Now, do
sorry.
we have to, if there's, let's say, for example, on Thursday in that time frame, I'm available, do we have to advertise for a quorum? Whatever, this would be.
I mean, if we have 4, we do,
Okay.
yeah.
One can just
So-
bail out on the
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, just want to make sure, though, that there's still the expectation where if you're not part of the three that are interviewing a candidate or something, that we still have the right to reach out to them directly, to
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
interview them
Yeah,
directly.
of course. FYI, Joe is going to be out of town Thursday, and I have a WUMA meeting at 4, so I'm going to have to head out at 3:30 if I'm involved in it, just FYI.
The one thing I want to mention on the planning board vacancies, I know the applications are all going to be due this week.
They're due tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
How many do you have?
I'd have to look, I haven't gotten any new ones since the last time I emailed you all.
So
Okay.
5?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, there should be a process for that, for basically interviewing them, and I think Kelly Cates wants to be involved in that, if possible, being the chair of that board. Bob, I know you're the liaison, planning board. Once we get the list, let's, try to get a process in place, maybe next week to get them in,
Okay.
to have some interviews. I'll be around.
Waxhaw does a formal selection committee to review applicants, and they provide recommendations to their greater board. I'm looking into that. That might be something y'all want to consider in the future, but that might be a little further off. But yeah, we
Yeah.
can work on something.
Yeah, I know Kelly kind of wanted to be involved in it, which rightfully so. So, okay, yeah, maybe next week we can get them in the room up here up front and,
I would do small groups like you're doing for the.
small group, yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Anything else? Okay, next thing, review of action items.
Okay, this should be pretty quick today. So Christina's going to arrange for those small group meetings to interview interim town managers. We'll talk more about planning board applicants once the applications are all finalized. Christina's going to send Angel the Marvin Creek contact about the roundabout. I'm going to bring back the CRTPO delegate discussion on June 1st for you guys to make an appointment. We're gonna go ahead and order the trail signs prohibiting motor vehicles. You guys approved the purchase of the bronze plaque for Mike Cognac, so we'll move forward with that. With the water feature, we'll have more discussion on that internally before we order anything there. We'll get the agreement executed that was on the consent agenda for the manager recruitment and assessment center services with Centralina. And Hunter is going to move forward with getting that new easement agreement for Tullamore. And we'll execute the master encroachment agreement with Google Fiber. That is all I got.
Okay. Next thing is council comments.
Nothing for me.
No, thank you.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
That's a first.
Okay, Austin, on here, I see a,
You're good to call, you're good to adjourn.
okay. So can someone make a motion for us to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All those for?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you.
And Joe,
So I would like to talk a little bit about what we gave back on the grant.
Okay, it was called Great Trail State Program.
Right.
And it was to finish the rest of the
And we gave that
The
back.
reason we gave it back was because there was.
Good luck with your water.
Funding mechanism for engineering, so we would have had to come out of pocket for the engineering costs.
Okay.
If you need, if you end up out of water or anything,
And we did we do that, this council?
No, so.
They're like, "Ah, look, that one there."
No, not